Alright guys, so how's it going tonight? So it's well, it's late because it's been busy and took a break, so it's almost a quarter to 10 in the night, evening, whatever, I don't know. It's dark, it's not morning, so it looks like it's morning though, because the moon is, can't see it because the tree's in the way, but the moon's giving her all tonight. It's actually a clear night. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow, so that's why it's clear now. So, but yeah, so I'm just going to let you guys know here real quick. I do have a video coming up, probably another day or so. It's going to be a pretty long video. You guys don't have to watch it if you don't want to. It's not related to farming or really anything. Anyway. This has to do with FedEx. It's just basically like a big rant video. So, if you guys don't want to watch that video, you don't have to. It's going to be, I think, like almost an hour. I tried to cut a lot of the stuff out. I had to anyway. So, it still ended up being a longer video than I would have liked it to be. But, hey, shit happens. So, just to let you guys know now. So, if you guys don't want to watch that video, you can just skip over that video. Or make it like a movie night video type of thing, you know, where you just... I don't know. It's a long video. You want a video to fall asleep with, you can use that video, then there you go. So, but it's just a ranting video. So, just letting you guys know now that there's going to be a long video coming up. And you guys may not want to watch that. So, if you don't want to, you don't have to. So I'm leaving it up to you guys. I just want you guys to be aware of that so you know what's coming. So, but talking about FedEx, finally got my package. Like I said in that video, I explain everything in that video, so I won't go into too much detail with it. But I've been waiting for my package for, I don't know, about 10 years now. Finally got it. So, like I said, I bought some tools from Harbor Freight. They finally got here. One was these 9-piece hex sockets, hex bit sockets, whatever you want to call them. These are 3/8 and 1/2 inch drive, and then this is the SAE, and then I got the other one, which is whatever the blue one is. So it's a different size, I guess, but yeah. So I bought these for the grain truck to see if they would work with that plug. Of course not. But that's alright. I wanted these anyway because these will come in handy for other jobs going into the future. So not a waste of money. It just sucks because it would have been nice to work on the grain truck. But we'll get into that as well. The other thing I ordered was this, but I've already taken it out of the package because I was kind of dying to try it. Is a telescoping blowgun. Now, it's out of the package, obviously, but I wanted you guys to see the brand and everything, you know, so there it is. Item number for Harbor Freight is 68261. So that's the item number from Harbor Freight. So if you guys want one, you can order one. This has actually been, because I used it already to clean my shop floor. I find it to be a little quicker than, it's not quicker, but it's just more laziness. It cleans my shop floor pretty well when I use air compared to using like a broom. Now my shop floor was covered in leaves and dirt and junk because I leave the door open all day, especially when I was painting. I leave it up all day to let the paint fumes go out, and of course when it's windy all the dirt comes blowing in, whatever else. So the reason why I picked up this was because my old blowgun, I think, has sprung a leak. This is the old one. This is the one I've had for a few years now. It doesn't work right. And I've tried oiling it, you know, down in here, well, where you squeeze the handle and that pushes that little rod in. You know, there's something messed up with it inside, so it constantly dumps air out. It doesn't dump all the air out, but it dumps enough that the air compressor, it takes longer for the air compressor to keep up. So, this was, and of course I lost the rubber tip. There was supposed to be a rubber tip on that. I lost that. I thought I had it, but it disappeared now. So, whatever. So this is junk. I might keep it as like a spare, I guess, because I imagine since the new one now, you know, cheap, it may break. So, but different, you know, different doohickey. The handles on top, so you have to pretty much hold it kind of like this now, which I don't know, doesn't bother me any. But what I've obviously liked the most is that it's telescoping. So you can just loosen this little nut here, and slide it out, and of course you can flip it, whatever. And like I said, I've already used it. I'm gonna get the whole length of it there, fully extended. I found this to be actually kind of handy when I was cleaning the floor, believe it or not, because it gets the tip closer to the floor without me having to lean over. That was the problem with the old gun, is that I had to lean more closer to the floor to get more air volume to the floor. So now this is more handier, and then of course when you want to blow out like a rat or something, you don't have to get in there as far. You can keep your hands safer away from hotter things and moving parts and whatever. You know, so it's a little bit of a safety thing there too that I like about it. It doesn't have a rubber tip on it, which is fine. I'm not gonna like stab it into my eye or anything stupid like that. Anyway, kids would do that, but you know, you shouldn't be letting kids play with tools. So if you let your kid play with it and they poke themselves in the eyes, that's on you. But and of course you can put it, you know, close it up and then it's fine. So, and I robbed this end out of the old gun because there's nothing wrong with it. But I did find out I still have a leak, but it's in the quick coupler. So I got to replace the quick coupler. But the gun doesn't leak obviously, but the coupler does now. So I think it always kind of has. I got a spare one. So now, yeah, this is the one that's leaking. That's a quick coupler. That's the one that's leaking, and then I have another one down on the compressor because I disconnected from there. You don't have to. You probably could make it permanent, but I like to make that detachable so I can bring the air compressor into the house. If I need to do like an emergency air job or something, you know, then I can just bring it into the house for a couple hours, unfreeze it. I was even thinking about doing another hose setup in the actual house down in the basement, and this can just sit down in the basement, you know, all winter long. So should just buy a new one of those and then just put this downstairs and put the newer one out here or something. But I had to replace that coupler down there because it was leaking pretty bad. This one's starting to leak now, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that, and then that should fix that problem because it fixed the one down there. So, and they've been on there. This has been on there ever since I installed all this. So, yeah. Oh, and then the other thing I got from Harbor Freight was a kit for the Dremel tool that I have. Just some extra grinding discs and sanding discs and some other miscellaneous stuff that I needed. So I didn't bring it because it's not that important, but just stuff for the Dremel tool that I had that I wanted. So I ordered that, and these which don't work anyway, but they will work for something else in the future, and then that new blowgun. So yeah, so on the grain truck, since none of these worked, which was kind of disappointing, but whatever, I just went ahead and I tried it. I figured, well, it's not going to work, you know, knowing my luck, it ain't going to work. I stuck a pair of vice grips on it, on the axle, to drain the oil out of the axle, and what do you know, I got it out, which is not ideal because it's wrecking it. So this is the plug for the bottom side of the axle. So you can see the little square doohickey in there. That is what I'm dealing with, and I cleaned it out, and it's, you know, nothing fits it. Even my 3/8 ratchets and whatever else I had don't fit. It's either too big or too small. So, and I don't want to keep using vice grips all the time because you can see the edges here, they're getting kind of mangled. So, and that's just from taking it out for the first time ever. So, but I mean, I'm going to go to the hardware. I really don't have nothing to lose by doing this. I'm either going to go to see if he has something that will fit that will fit on a ratchet, or I'm going to see if he's got a different style plug that I can use. Now, probably not ideal to do that, to replace the plug, because I think these plugs usually have like a little bit of a magnet pull on them, so it grabs chunks of metal and whatever. But I can't keep doing this, right? I'm not going to have nothing to grab, in a few years. So, I don't know. I'm just going to see if he's got something that'll fit that, or maybe he's got a plug that's a little bit different. I'm looking for something that I can just stick like one of these little damn wrenches on it, like something simple. Because I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know what you would need to even drive that out. I mean, you think just a regular ratchet would do, but none of mine fit. I don't know how many different sizes there are. I only know of 3/8, ½ inch, and then I think there's a 1/4 inch, so, and then there's, I think, like 1 inch, and I thought there was 1½ inch, but I think it only goes up to like 1 inch, but yeah, it's pretty small. So I have no clue what will fit that. You guys will probably know, but this is out of the International Grain Truck, obviously. So I'm just going to, like I said, take this into the hardware, see if he has a socket or something, or some kind of a tool that will fit that. Or I'm just going to replace the plug and see if he's got a plug that'll fit that I can just use like an ordinary wrench on or something. Like I said, I don't really want to do that because it might be important to have that little bit of a magnet pull. You can kind of feel there's a little bit of a magnet pull in it. Not much. It's very weak, but it doesn't take much to grab little chunks of metal. So, but that's the plug out of the rear axle. So that's dumped out right now. I have to figure this out first before I, do anything else, and then I have to do a flush. And I drained that stuff out. I was actually in a hurry to do it because it looked like there was a small little rainstorm moving in or something, but it didn't. It just spit a couple of drops and then it left. So I don't know. I guess I could, and I was in a hurry, so just kind of sent there. So yeah, that oil wasn't looking the healthiest either. It wasn't gooey or anything, but it just didn't look very healthy. So I'm kind of glad in a way that I was able to at least dump it. So I'm going to change it out tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to go, our grandma's got a haircut appointment, so I'm going to run to the hardware and see what he can think of that. And then, yeah, so, but, it is what it is. So, like I said, I have the oils and everything to do this, so, I can do it. So, it's just the point of trying to get these damn plugs out, but I don't want to keep using vice grips all the freaking time. So, I mean, what are you going to do? So, and then the transmission, that's still a mystery. I don't know where the fill is on that. I know everybody says it's on the side of the transmission. Well, I scraped the transmission pretty much as clean as I could get it. I mean, the only way you're going to get that thing spotless clean is you're going to have to soak it in something, and that's going to take time. So, I got a feeling that's going to be a next year project because I'm kind of running out of time. I mean, I still got a little while yet, but, when the temperature starts dipping below a certain point, I'm not really going to want to dick with stuff too much. So, I don't know. I'll have to maybe over the winter months find some books or something on them and see if it tells me, So, yeah. I guess that's all we can do. So look into it more next year, but at least if we can get the rear end done, I'll be a little happier with that. So probably wouldn't hurt to maybe dump some diesel fuel in there and run it for a couple of miles with some diesel fuel in there and then dump it, just to clean it out. But it didn't look super rusty inside when I did take the fill cap off. It didn't look that bad. So maybe with some fresh oil, we'll take care of that. You got to remember too, the truck sat for a lot of years too, so there is going to be some rust build up on some of the parts. You just got to run it a little bit, and maybe you'll wear that rust off over time. So, but whatever. So, yeah, and then the other thing is, I finally changed the engine oil in the 1586. That was officially done for the first time ever in my lifetime, and that was definitely an experience that I will never forget. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting thing to do. I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen just because big engine requires a lot of oil and it's going to come out like a son of a bitch. Well, this grenaded. The nut, or the whatever you want to call it, the plug, whatever, the drain plug, whatever. It was only hanging on by 2 threads, and when the oil was seeping through. But I thought, okay, maybe I should, stand back a little bit because things shit can happen. But I figured, okay, I was like, whatever, I'll just send it. So didn't really bother moving, I just kind of laid there, sit there, whatever. Took the plug out, it's just like somebody had a freaking grenade there. Grenaded oil all over everything, including my pants. And that dark stain down there, all that down there, from my knee down, that's oil. I took a bath in engine oil. And my hand, of course I had gloves on at the time, so my hands didn't get too terribly covered in it, but my tools did. Well, the big wrench that I was using, that was my uncle's wrench, so yeah, let's just say that won't be rusting anytime soon. So, but yeah, it was definitely an experience, and I don't know what happened to half the oil, because I think that tractor holds like 5-6 gallons of oil. I thought they said 6 gallons of oil. It never even filled the pail. It was about a gallon short. So, but like I said, on the dipstick too, it was low. It wanted me to add oil to it, but I didn't want to do that because I knew I was going to change the oil on it. So I didn't want to dick with it. So it's like, I'm not going to put fresh oil in it and then dump it, and then it's kind of a waste. So. But yeah, the oil was just coming out so fast. Like, I wasn't really expecting that, but again, I'm not used to it because the newer machines, they're designed differently, so oil comes out a little slower, or they got something to kind of help with that. But anyways, I had one of these doohickeys. Of course, a much bigger one though, not this, but much bigger. It's up at the house. I had one of those, and then going into the pail, because that's the only way I was going to catch it. So I was going to put it into a 5-gallon pail. And it filled up that thing so quick. I was like, well, I need to do something. What am I going to do? I was thinking maybe I'll put the plug back in, but that wasn't going to be quick enough. And then I was like, oh, I remember seeing this on YouTube. A guy was doing it. He just put his hand over it, and then it stopped the oil from coming out. So that's what I did. Let it drain down, and then continued with it. Because, yeah, my uncle didn't do that, because he changed oil on his tractor too. He happened to do his at the same time I was doing mine. So we were kind of bouncing back and forth between the two tractors. And then he dumped his out. It was starting to overfill, and I was like, put your hand over it, but he didn't get it. So I put my hand over it, so maybe he'll know next time. So, yeah, it was just, we all got covered in oil. unbelievable. But yeah, I got the new Fleetguard filters for the engine. They're actually the exact same as what I have now. I thought they'd be different because in the picture they showed, you know, a different type of filter. Same part number, it's just, you know, a different design. So, but it was still a Fleetguard LF. Yeah, I think it was an LF 3316. That's the type of engine oil filters it requires. So, and they weren't seized on there too bad. They were tight, but I think that's just to be expected for how tight they were. You know, for being on for so many years, and then who knows how tight, you know, the people that changed it last, they probably put them on a little tight. So, but I managed with my little wrench thing there that it still crushed the filter a little bit, but I think no matter what, you're going to get that. But I need to get a different type of wrench or something that doesn't crush the filter so bad, because I kind of wanted to keep one as a spare. I wanted more, but the other place I ordered them from, they charged way too much for shipping, so I was only able to get 2. So I'm going to order a couple more oil filters for the tractor in a few weeks or something. I don't know, because I want spares. So, but the only problem was that the first filter, one that's closest to the cab, that came off kind of funny. It didn't seem right. And then when I put the new one on, it didn't seem right. It seemed like maybe there was like junk in the threads or something, or maybe a thread was missing. I don't know. It didn't sound healthy when it went on, but it went on and it went tight. So I don't know. Maybe there's a thread slightly bent or what. I don't really know, but it's holding. I mean, I ran it with it like that, so didn't run it very long though, because I need the oil to settle again so I can check the oil level, you know, and get a proper amount in there. They said, I think 5 or 6 gallons. I think there's 5 gallons in there right now. So, but I can't read the damn dipstick because I've been checking it all afternoon, and the whole stick gets covered in oil. I don't know why. It doesn't read where it should be reading. So, I don't know if the tractor just needs to sit for a while and let the oil drip down, you know, and, maybe it'll settle and then I'll get a proper reading then. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating because I can't read the dipstick because the whole thing is, for some reason, gets covered in oil when it slides out. So, I don't know. So I'm just going to leave it like that maybe for a couple of days, and then I'll check it again. So, but yeah, let's just say for the old oil, because we're just going to use that for starting fires and, you know, oiling certain things, I guess, whatever. I use it on my that John Deere cultivator. I will oil those drive chains with that oil. I used to just use WD-40. It worked, but it dried up after a while. So yeah, I'll just sprinkle a little oil on it, and it'll be good for, you know, a few weeks or a few months, whatever. We don't run it that much, so it dries up within a little while. So, but whatever, doesn't really matter, I guess. So, but yeah, so the oil on that tractor, especially when it got down to like towards the bottom, she was looking a little sludgy. So that's, I don't know, somewhat concerning, but not really, because that oil's been in there since I bought it. You know, now, like I said, I've added oil to it, but I've only done it, I think, once. Out of all the years I've owned the tractor, I've only added oil once to it. I've never changed oil, obviously, but it was always getting low, so I added a gallon to it. And it's never been changed since. I mean, well, it's never been changed. So I think that oil was getting pretty wore out. It was just, I mean, even for the amount of hours I put on it, it was just getting wore out. So I think that would kind of maybe would explain when the tractor was at such a low idle, the oil pressure would just basically go to nothing. And I think that's the reason why, is because it was, maybe it was pumping sludge and it just wasn't really doing anything for the engine. So yeah, let's not go that long without changing engine oils again. So I think I'm going to do it at least every couple of years. For the amount of hours that I put on it, I think I could get away with every couple of years. Same thing with the John Deere. I do that every couple of years. The Big Red's going to need that every year because they recommend every 500 miles. And while I put on about close to 700 miles in just 1 year, so I'm a little overdue, but I want to change my oils once because it's a pain in the ass. So what's 100 or 2 over the mark? So whatever. So yeah, Big Red's oil is pretty black by then too, but at least I change it. So, but yeah. So the only thing I don't like that International did with these tractors, well, it's their engines, is they put the engine oil filters upside down. I don't really care for that because you can't really put any oil in them. I mean, you can put some in, but it's all just going to run out eventually. So you have to, I guess, put a little bit in and then just start it on as fast as you can. I mean, that's what I did. So I lost a tiny bit, but I was pretty quick about it, so I didn't lose much. Because I don't like putting on filters dry. It's just, I mean, it was still dry anyway. I mean, the tractor sucked it all pretty quick because you could hear it. It was running on basically no oil for a few seconds. So, and then it started getting oil. So, I'm not really a big fan of that, but, it's, what can you do? That's how they did it, so that's just what you got to deal with. So, but, yeah. New oil filters, and yeah, this fucking tractor basically got an overhaul for the year. Coolant filter, I did that a couple of months ago. Yeah, so coolant filter, diesel fuel filters, or water separator filter, and just diesel fuel cleaner filter, engine oil filter, and then the hydraulic filter I changed out. So I changed pretty much every filter that's known on that tractor. So, and I didn't change the hydraulic oil, but I figured how most of it came out anyway. That was dirty and junky anyway, so, but I don't know. It's, I'm not going to change the hydraulic oil. That's just ridiculous. That's going to be, I mean, I'll have to at some point, I guess, but I don't know, that's going to get expensive when you need probably like 50 million gallons of the shit, so. But I guess we'll worry about it when the time comes, I guess. But yeah, so that's what's going on. At least the 1586 got an oil change for the first time since I bought it. I believe it did get an oil change when I first bought it, and then it went to that repair shop to have the rim replaced. They said that they had to dump the coolant to change, because I had them change out obviously the block heater because it wasn't working. So they said, well, we got to dump the coolant out. So I said, well, since you're going to be there, dicking with the motor, you might as well go ahead and change the oil and the filters. So they did that, and of course charged me for it, which was fine. And that's been pretty much it. I haven't changed it since. I've added a gallon to it over the years, or actually it was just like last year or the year before I had to add a gallon. But I don't know, for some reason this year, there was oil there, and then I ran it, and then there was no oil at all. So, or it went down. It must have drank quite a bit of it, I don't know. My uncle says that it was probably burning it. So, because I don't know what the problem is with this tractor, but when you first fire it up, and you let it run for a little bit, it smokes. Now that's probably normal. I don't know, maybe, I mean, it wasn't cold out, so it shouldn't be smoking. So I'm guessing it's probably oil being burned. But the only place that can really go then if it's going to burn like that is the pistons. Well, geez, how much oil is slipping by those pistons, you know? It's making you kind of wonder. Because, I mean, the engine's got, you know, close to 9,000 hours, so the engine probably is due for an overhaul, but it's not something I'm going to do anytime soon. So, yeah, I don't know. She's a little smoky, but then, you know, when you rev it up a couple times, blow all the shit out of the exhaust, then it runs clean. You know, it's just the first, you know, idling, and then the first 2 or 3 revs, it's, you know, smoky. So, but I don't know where the oil's going. I mean, it must be, when the engine's just idling like that, it must just pull it all into the pistons and it burns it. So, I don't know, but it's an interesting thing, but I guess what can you do? So, if it's, I mean, it's kind of funny though too, because I had added oil, like I said, about a year or 2 ago, and I haven't had to really touch it since. I mean, this is the first time I actually had to touch it now, but I planned on touching it anyway, because like I said, I was going to change the oil on it, so, and, man, I'm glad I fucking did, because you know what, they were sludging that shit, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not, so, that was kind of concerning. So I was like, well, that obviously not only could cause some issues for the engine, but, you know, it's telling you that, you know, the oil is probably well overdue. It needed to be dumped a long time ago. So, but we dumped it now. And I'm just waiting for it to kind of settle so I can check to get a proper reading on the level, and then I'll add to it if I have to. But yeah, other than that, I think Dakota's officially, I think, ready for winter now. She's gotten just about all the love I can give her. I did fix the other tail light. I put the other red LED tail light in. That was a wiring disaster too, because the wiring's all fucked up. So I had to tinker with that. So the only thing that's left now in the back of that tractor to upgrade for LEDs are the rear blinkers, or the turn signals on the back. Then after that, the back end of that tractor will be complete. Everything will have been updated to LEDs, and then it will just be the fronts then after that. So, but yeah, she's getting some love, but that was the plans, to get it done for this year. So hopefully we can get it sorted out, and then, you know, she's ready to go for the winter. So then, you know, if we have to do emergency feeding or need to pull the 400 or something or whatever, you know, then she'll fire it and go without any issues. So last year she put it kind of up a fight, but I think that's because of the cold. So, and I'm pretty sure there was water in the fuel, but I got a different style filter on there now, so I think I can pretty much drain it. You know, because it's got like a little drain on the bottom of that water separator filter now, so I can drain that pretty much anytime I want to. And I actually have been doing that quite a bit since I put that filter on. I've just been cracking it, opening it, letting it drip for a few seconds, and then shutting it and closing it back up. I don't know if there's any water in it or not. You can't tell, so you have to put it in some kind of a cup or something, see if it would float, or see if it would separate. But I don't bother. I just, you know, drain a little bit out and call it a day. So I guess they must have been getting some water in the fuel or something, but whatever. The only thing I got left to do now is I'm just going to top off the fuel tanks, because I did burn a lot of that fuel when I was starting to rain, I think. But I dumped a lot of that fuel when I was changing the, or when I was moving those bales, I mean. No, it's not raining. It's clear out. So, coming off the trees, I guess. But, yeah. So, top it off. I got a bit of fuel left in the tanks there, in the pickup, that's in the back of the pickup, and I'll dump that in there, and we'll be fucking done. We'll be done for the year. So, now all we gotta do is go into winter time and freeze our balls off for the next 6 months. I think we have more winter than we do summer. It's getting to be kind of depressing, because winter's here longer than summer. I want a longer damn summer and a shorter winter. But they're talking a lot of snow this winter, so I guess we'll see what happens. But we'll just see what happens. So, but anyways, guys, I guess I'm going to take off. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on what's been going on. So Dakota is officially done for the year. I think I'm just going to top off the fuel and then top off the engine oil if it needs it, and then I think I'm just going to go park it back in its little parking lot for the winter, because I don't think I'm going to cultivate that trail anymore this year since the weeds ain't growing that fast. So probably just go put it back in our little parking lot and then call it a year, I guess. She can just sit there, I guess, until we need it. So, well, unless it goes in this October to get worked on, I don't know. We'll see how that TA thing goes, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought much about that. Just been trying to get everything done. So yeah, so there you go, guys. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take off. So I guess I have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.